Hello everybody, welcome to week 5 of English 3 Diploma 3. I hope you're all well and staying healthy and keeping safe. My name's David Britton. For those that don't remember, I'm working as a Practicum student in your class along with Miss Mona Lisa Pasarabu. The presentation of the materials will be a little bit different this time. I'll be taking over the presentation of the videos and the practicums on Tuesdays, but I'll be working together with Miss Mona Lisa through that time. If you have any questions about the materials or what we cover or anything in the videos, please contact myself or Miss Mona Lisa straight away so that we can help you with the material and help your understanding. This week's topic is operating systems. As IT students, I imagine that you know a lot about operating systems already. Now we practice transferring that into your use of English. Remember, operating systems are the bits of software that allow the hardware and the software to work in computers and other electronic devices. We'll start with a quick outline of what will happen in this video. First, we will review the material from the last week, looking at complex instructions. Next, we will cover the objectives of the lesson. Then we will look at the readings on operating systems, and then finish with our grammar work, which looks at adding the ing form to the subject position and after prepositions. And then we'll have time for practice and go through the work that you've done. What are some ways to describe complex instructions? Remember from last week, we went through. Some of it's about putting things in order, keeping the instructions simple, even though they're complex instructions, putting them using ordinals like first, second, and then using words like before, after, next. This week, we'll be looking at using reading strategies for particular readings through the application using critical reading. This is to help our understanding. When we read for meaning and understanding. And the same thing happens when we write. We need our audience to understand what we're doing. Practicing this while we're reading helps us as authors. We will also, in our grammar part, look at gerunds. Gerunds are verbs that function as nouns. This will become more evident when we get to that spot. Please have a look and remember our online learning protocols. This is very important. This is to help us have an effective class, but also to help you with your understanding as you go through the weeks. Please do your homework. Do it before you get to the lecture. That allows us to go through the material, but if there's any issues that come up or you don't understand something, we can go through that straight away. Please keep your camera on for the entire session. I'm still learning your names, and I'll need to see your faces to help me understand and remember who you are. Now, please remember I'm learning. If I make a mistake, correct me. I want to learn as well. Be ready to share your work on the screen and listen for your name and be ready to answer. Now, please, in the comments section under this video, can you answer the following questions? Remember to answer with proper sentences, so correct grammar and correct sentence structure. What are the operating systems that you know of? Do you use them frequently? What do you use the operating systems for? If you need to pause the video to see what they are, do it now and then add your answers afterwards. These are our general strategies for reading comprehension. Comprehension is when we understand something. If we're reading materials like you'll be doing in your other courses, you'll be reading a lot of text that you need to get meaning from. so that you understand what the author means but can apply that later in your own work. So the first one is using prior knowledge and previewing. We know a lot already, and we can use that to help us understand. We're not learning things for the first time most of the time, and then if we quickly preview the material, it will give us an idea of where the text is going. Predict what will come. If you're reading about operating systems, you can expect some of the things that will come up. If you're reading about CPUs, you know some of the language and some of the vocabulary will be used through that. When you're reading, try and identify the main idea and summarize what's happening. Take notes as you go along. Write on the side of the page if you need to. Ask questions. What is the author trying to prove? What are they trying to get across? Why are they writing it? And what do they want you to understand? Making inferences. An inference is when you draw information out and what we call in English, reading between the lines. The information might not be there, but it's still what the author meant, and we can get that knowledge by drawing inferences. The last one is to use visualizations. Visualization is when we draw a picture in our mind. Now I would like you to read the text that's Operating Systems Unit 6 that looks like this. Please pause the video while you read it and then be ready to answer some questions. What reading strategy did you use? How did you read for meaning? What did you do to help your comprehension? Did you visualize it? Did you draw a picture that you could see inside your mind? There are a few abbreviations in this text that you may know, but I'll go through to help you understand. The first one is IE. That comes from a Latin phrase, but in English means that is. Another one that you'll come across frequently is EG. EG is short for example. Please answer these questions and be ready to provide them in the Practicum session. What is an operating system? What does it do? What is the best description of an operating system? Is it a government, a society, or a parliament? You might need to infer a little bit of this information. Today's reading that I would like you to record is called Operating Systems Hidden Software. Please check the reading and record yourself reading the text and be ready to share it on Tuesday. If there are any words that you do not know how to pronounce or the meaning of the words, check a dictionary or ask. You can ask myself or Miss. I will provide an audio file of myself reading so that you can compare this after the lecture. That way you can see how your pronunciation goes, and any words that you're not sure of, you can check. That brings us to the grammar part of our lesson. We'll be looking at the ing form in subject position and after prepositions. When we use this, we turn a verb into what's essentially a noun. It can be the subject, object, or complement of a sentence. We can say when managing the computer's resources is an important function of the operating system, rather than an important function of the operating system is to manage the computer's resources. Another example is the operating system starts running the user interface as soon as the PC is switched on. Now we come to the grammar part of our video lesson. This is adding the ing, the ing form in subject position and after prepositions. These are known as gerunds, and they add variety to our text and can also help explain complex things by turning that verb into a noun. We can use the ing form of a verb as a noun. It can be the subject, object, or complement of a sentence. Have a look at this example below. Managing the computer's resources is an important function of the operating system. Here, we turn manage to managing. Notice we drop the E and I add ing. This is instead of saying an important function of the operating system is to manage the computer's resources. Number 2, the operating system starts running the user interface as soon as the PC is switched on. Here, we change the verb run to the gerund or noun running. Please notice in this example, we add an N and then add ing. Our third example, another function of the operating system is executing and providing services for application software. Here we have 2 examples. We change execute to executing, excuse my long line, and providing comes from the verb provide. The ing form is used after prepositions. This includes when it is a preposition and not part of the infinitive. For example, without the user being aware of the details, the operating system manages the computer's resources. Without is our preposition, and because it's following it, we have being. We change be to being, and it becomes our gerund. We begin by focusing on the interaction between a user and a PC operating system. By is our preposition, and focusing is now our noun or our gerund. That focus becomes focusing. We're going to have a little bit of practice now rewriting sentences using this sentence. An important function of the operating system is to manage the computer's resources. Let's have a look at our verb manage. How are we going to change that to a gerund? Managing the computer's resources is an important function of the operating system. Manage becomes managing, and you'll notice the order changes as well. This is important as it provides a different way to say what's the same thing, and it allows us to add variety into our writing. Something to note. The infinitive is required after certain verbs in English, such as agree, choose, claim, decide. We have to agree, to choose, to claim, to decide. But we have to use the ing form after certain verbs such as object to. That would become objecting. Look forward to, looking forward to. Pay attention to, paying attention to. This will become clearer as we practice it more. Now here's your job. Please prepare this ready for Tuesday's practicum. I would like you to go through and change these sentences, changing the verb into the ing form. So you will need to alter the order of the sentence in a number of cases, but remember we're changing the verb to the ing form so it becomes a gerund or is used like a noun. Please pause this if you need and take the time to look at it and answer each of the questions. Remember, answer using proper sentences with correct sentence structure and correct grammar. Here's another practice exercise for you. Please be ready to share your answers on Tuesday. So remember to change the verb to the ing form. At the practicum on Tuesday, we'll look more on reading strategies and more on the grammar discussion. Remember, if you have any questions, to please ask. Next week, we'll be looking at graphical user interfaces, or GUIs as they're known. I remember when everything was command driven, but thankfully now we have things like Windows and graphics that we can use. Here's the references for this week. Please have a nice week. I will see you on Tuesday morning. I look forward to do that. Please stay safe and I'll see you then. Goodbye.